In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys exactly what hashtags you should be using no matter what niche you're in. My goal by the end of this video is for you guys to know exactly what hashtags to use, where to find the best hashtags, how to determine which hashtags you should be using, and how many hashtags you should be using on each post. Because I definitely do not want any of you guys to be making the mistake that 99% of other TikTokers are making when it comes to using hashtags. In fact, I can only talk about this because I made the same exact mistake that most people are. My first 250 posts only got me 3,000 followers. Obviously, since then, I've grown to over 560,000, and more importantly, I've helped tens of thousands of people grow on TikTok. Even hundreds of them have grown hundreds of thousands or millions of followers. So one of the biggest mistakes that a ton of you guys are screwing up is either one, you're using no hashtags at all, or you're using way too many hashtags. I see so many people not even writing a description, they're just filling up the whole description with hashtags, and that is a huge mistake. That is almost just as bad as using no hashtags at all. We'll get more into how many hashtags you guys should be using in a little bit, but first I want to do a little bit of explaining about what hashtags actually do, because I get so many DMs on a daily basis of people saying, hey Rob, I used a hashtag, how come the video didn't go viral? Clearly there's a misunderstanding of what hashtags actually do and what TikTok uses them for. So typically what I'll do after I get a DM like that, I'll say, hey, could you please send me your username and I'm gonna check out and see what kind of hashtags you're using, how you're using your hashtag strategy, what does it look like, and see what's going on. And 9 times out of 10, it looks like the user has no idea what hashtags even are used for on TikTok. And I'll tell you what, that's exactly why these people aren't growing. That's exactly why these people are not getting a lot of views on their videos. That being said though, I do want to emphasize hashtags are not the most important part of the equation when it comes to getting on the TikTok For You page, but they can make all the difference when it comes to growing millions of followers or getting millions of views on your videos. One of the biggest misconceptions is that you could have an absolutely terrible video, use the right hashtags and post at the right time, and then it's going to take off like a rocket ship. This could not be any further from the truth. Your content needs to be on par, it needs to be posted at the right time, and then if you use the right hashtags, there's a really good chance that TikTok could rank you for that hashtag, and then you get millions of views and millions of followers. I've seen this happen so many times. When somebody wants to take over a niche, what they do is actually rank all their videos in that niche's hashtags, and then boom, they get millions of followers literally overnight. Two creators that I've helped do this, and they've gained millions of followers on the back of it, are Dax Newman and Joel Magician. Dax ranked for all the pottery related keywords, and Joel ranked for all the magician related keywords, and that's exactly why they've gained millions of followers. Obviously, it's not the only thing. Their content's great, but their hashtag strategies definitely help them out. Anytime somebody looks up something magician related, Joel comes up, and anytime anybody looks up anything pottery related, Dax comes up, and that is the reason that they have millions of followers. So to put it simply, TikTok really just uses hashtags for two things. First, to allow TikTok to index things so that people can then come and search for them, and then secondly, it allows TikTok to know what kind of content you're creating. Before they even analyze what the post is about, they can know, oh, this person used hashtag magic, this is probably a post related to magic. That being said, they're definitely not the only factors that go into whether or not something ranks in a hashtag. And just a reminder, before I get on to the rest of the video, if you have not smashed that subscribe button, make sure you smash that right now, give this video a thumbs up, and if you have any questions throughout this whole entire video, I'm gonna answer them all on my podcast that gets released. All you have to do is search Robert Benjamin wherever you listen to podcasts, and you'll see my podcast pop up. So, although hashtags are not the most important thing in the world, they can allow you to know what kind of content to make. They'll allow you to rank for different hashtags, get pushed out to different audiences. So I would strongly suggest you guys listen to everything that I'm about to tell you related to hashtags. First, when you're choosing your hashtags, you should choose 1 to 2 trending hashtags and 1 to 2 niche specific hashtags. It's alright if the trending hashtags have nothing to do with the piece of content that you've created, but I would strongly suggest that you choose the ones that are as most closely related as possible. If you don't know where to find trending hashtags, which is a question that I get all the time, and I kind of wonder, what have you been doing on TikTok this whole time? If you don't know what the trending hashtags are, they're going to be on the Discover page. If you're in the US, they come up in red and blue. The ones that are blue, hashtags that are trending that people had paid to have trend, and the ones in red are just ones that are trending organically. That being said, yes, everybody's Discover page, everybody's trending hashtags are different, but you should use your region's trending hashtags because that's going to give you the highest chance of ranking in your region. You guys have to remember, TikTok is a geo-focused app. If you're in New York and your friends in California, they have a different Discover page, well then guess what? You should not be using their Discover page. You should use your Discover page because that's going to help you rank higher for New York and the associated areas. The same thing that they should not be using yours and vice versa. So now that you know where to find trending hashtags and which ones to use, let's get into the organic hashtag side of things because this is really where a lot of people mess up. For example, one of my clients at Daily Motivation Kick, I strongly suggest you guys go drop them a follow, has made a huge difference in their content by 1, picking the right post specific hashtags, and then 2, creating content that looks exactly like what's showing up under those hashtags. Before they started doing this, they had a huge problem. They weren't getting a lot of views, they were not getting a lot of followers at all, and it was strictly because they just were not making niche specific content that was like what was going on under their niche specific hashtags. So what I told them to do was just look up hashtag motivation, hashtag daily inspiration, those things, and find the hashtags that have the most amount of views under them. And then what you need to do first, you need to make sure that your content looks like that. Secondly, you need to add in 2 of those hashtags to every single one of your posts. They need to be as specific to that post as possible, but you also need to make sure that you're using the ones with a lot of views. Too many creators make the mistake of using hashtags that don't have a lot of views, and that's exactly why they don't get a lot of views. You need to be pushing out hashtags that have a ton of views because 1, TikTok knows that they have a huge audience for posts that are indexing within that hashtags, so that'll get you pushed out to way more people. And then 2, it's gonna give you the highest chance to make content that is actually appealing to a ton of people and not just content that appealed to kind of nobody and there was just one big video that had that hashtag thrown in at the end of it, and that's why that hashtag has views under it. Another good example is somebody that has totally changed their account around by doing this is at Mozzarella Poppy. Actually, I wanted to mention him way earlier, but I couldn't because his views started to decrease after the new algorithm, and hashtags were the reason why. I'm sure a lot of you guys could relate to the story that I'm about to tell you about. So, since the new algorithm change, he was seeing a huge decrease in his views, and hashtags were actually the reason why. I'm sure he's not gonna mind me telling this story because it's gonna help out so many of you guys, and he has totally changed it around by switching up his hashtag strategy. So, what he was doing wrong is the same thing that so many of you guys are doing when I audit your guys' accounts. He was using way too many hashtags or using no hashtags at all, and every piece of content that he made did not look like what was going on under those post-specific hashtags. So, he did 2 things. First, he changed up his content, which is something that I think a lot of you guys have to do. I gave him the right hashtags to use for the comedy niche, specifically for him. He started making content that looked like what was ranking under those hashtags. Combining that, the right content with the right hashtags, then boom, he's getting way more views, way more followers than ever before. If you don't believe me, go check him out and make sure you drop him a follow. So more or less, hashtags helped him in 2 ways. First, it told him what kind of content to make. 2, it helped him index, rank, and reach a new audience because TikTok then said, oh, this is great content. It looks exactly like what's being pushed out under these hashtags. Let's push it out to the audience that always engages with these hashtags. This might really be the most important part of the video, what I'm about to tell you guys. You guys need to make sure that you pay attention to everything I'm about to say, because again, this is the reason that Joel and Dax have millions of followers, simply because they took over their niche specific hashtags. So I tell all of my accelerator and mentors clients the same exact thing. They need to be doing these things and focusing on these simple things when it comes to hashtags. First, your content needs to look exactly like what is being made under your niche specific hashtags. If you don't have a niche, then it needs to look exactly like what is being made on the Discover page every single day, which is always rapidly changing. Second, you need to be using 1 to 2 trending hashtags and 1 to 2 niche specific hashtags. This is incredibly important. It's gotta be a mix of the 2. Third, and this is a huge mistake that way too many of you guys make, your hashtags need to come at the end of your description. Too many people are putting hashtags and then their description. It just doesn't look good when a reader is going to read something, and not a lot of viral videos happen that way, so TikTok sees that and that type of content creation as just subpar, and then they don't push your video out. You need to make sure that your hashtags come at the end of the description. If you guys have not seen it yet, I made a video about what factors go into ranking content on the For You page, and what the content looks like is a huge factor in this. So I strongly suggest that you guys go back to what I just said about how you make content that looks like what's under a hashtag and start implementing that. And if you're struggling between choosing 2 hashtags, I strongly suggest that you choose the hashtag that has the most amount of views, because that's gonna be the one with the biggest audience and that has had the most successful posts under it. So 1, you'll find the best content to copy under there, and then 2, TikTok thinks that they have a huge audience for that kind of content, so if you use that hashtag, there's a much better chance of your post really getting pushed out. In addition, and I cannot emphasize this enough, if the piece of content that you're making does not look like the other pieces of content that were created under that hashtag, that should be a huge red flag, and that should let you know that you're just not making good content for your niche. This tells me 2 things. 1, that you're not making trending content for your niche, and 2, you're just not making TikTok native content. That's why your stuff's not blowing up. And newsflash for a lot of you guys, if everybody's content looks totally different than yours, you're not being original. You're just being stupid and not taking advantage of what's trending on TikTok, and quite honestly, the biggest opportunity ever to have people discover your stuff. This opportunity is not gonna last forever with TikTok, so you guys need to get on with the bandwagon and say, hey, this is what I'm gonna do. Yes, you could still be creative, you could add your own original things, but if it doesn't look like what's going on TikTok, then you're totally missing the boat here. And for those of you that are struggling to get a lot of views, to get a lot of followers, I want to help you with my accelerator program or my mentorship program. Both of them guarantee that I can help you grow on TikTok. If not, you get your money back. If you want to know exactly what I would do on your account, what hashtags to use, what kind of content to make, what creators I would model yourself after, what time you should be posting, all of these different things, you need to sign up. And like I said, if you don't grow from this, I guarantee that I will give you your money back. No questions asked. There's zero risk involved, and you're going to take advantage of the biggest opportunity ever in social media. I don't care if you're just a person sitting in his room like I am and you want a ton of people to see your stuff, or you own a business, or you want to start a business. Whatever the case is, TikTok is the biggest opportunity for you. So stop sleeping on this opportunity and sign up for that program, because everybody else is growing, and the reason you're not growing is probably because you're just doing a few simple things wrong, and I want to show you what those are and help you. That being said, if you're not interested in that at all, I did make a playlist that has all of my free YouTube content. All you have to do is click in the description below. I also link out to the accelerator program and the mentorship program in the description below. Just go there. You're going to find a whole bunch of content. You're going to find my phone number. You could text me, a link to the podcast, listen to the podcast so you could have your questions answered, all of this information. So I strongly suggest you guys go check out that description. And lastly, thank you guys so much for watching this video.